The abductors of Mustafa Zarho Aliu, wife of the lawmaker representing Miga constituency of Jigawa State, have demanded 50 million naira as ransom before she regains her freedom. Haruna Aliu's wife was kidnapped by gunmen from the family's residence in Miga local government area. The state police public relations officer, Mr. Abdul Jinjiri, confirmed that the gunmen, numbering about 5, went to the residence of the assembly member and forcefully took away his wife. He adds that the police are on the trail of the kidnappers and are hoping to make an arrest soon. The State Commissioner of Information, Colonel Mohammed Hassan, also gave assurance that a strategy is being worked out to ensure her safe release. Some civil servants in some states can finally heave a sigh of relief as the payment of the new minimum wage is finally gaining some compliance. While some states have given their approval to implement the new salary structure, others are in the process of concluding on their negotiations.
Following the deadline given by the Nigeria Labour Congress to states to conclude negotiations on the implementation of the new national minimum wage before January 31st, some states that were yet to comply are now making moves to do so.
Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
In Bayelsa State, Governor Seriake Dixon has approved the implementation of the new salary structure for workers in the state with immediate effect.
Our state cannot be left out. What is good for the geese is good for the gander. Yes. And I made you people a commitment when this issue came up that we are not in principle opposed to 30,000 minimum wage.
Delta State is not left out, as it has signed an agreement with the state's labor union to commence payments with arrears to be paid from November the 1st, 2019.
His Excellency Governor Kowa had always made it clear that he was going to abide by the template from the federal government. We agreed for January as the date for the actual payment. Also, the arrears, 1 month arrears will be paid alongside the January salaries, and then the second month arrears will be paid subsequently.
Chairman, Nigeria Labour Congress, Cross River State.
Meanwhile, the Cross River State government has inaugurated a committee to carry out negotiations and come up with a decision, bearing in mind the state's financial strength.
Do not go ahead and negotiate what will cause us to start owing salaries. Do not negotiate things and think that you want to satisfy for the workers to clap for you or to say you have worked so hard for them, and at the end of the day, we are not able to pay.
It's expected that other state governments will toe the same line on the minimum wage implementation to increase the standard of living of workers, reduce poverty, and be a motivation for better performance.
If you apply the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, you may have to brace for another round of hectic commute on the Berger-Kara Bridge axis beginning from Monday. As a matter of fact, beginning from today. This is because the demarcation on the inbound Lagos lane has already been put in place in preparation for the second phase of the reconstruction of that part of the road. The work is expected to be completed before the end of February. That's according to the Federal Ministry of Works. Our correspondent, Ini John Mekwa, gives an earlier update today.
After the December break, man and machine are back to Kara Bridge in Berger area of Lagos. This time around, work is expected to be on the outbound lane of the bridge. That's for those who are going out of Lagos State. Work is expected to start fully on Monday, the 13th of January 2020, but already, even today, we can see that the demarcations have already been put in place, road signs have already been put in place, and as expected, traffic has already started building. But obviously, this is just a tip of the iceberg of what will happen from Monday when the major work begins, because by Monday, everybody, all motorists will have to use the inbound lane for going in and coming out. And already we see the barricade has already been put in place, even though the lane for the outbound is still functional at this time. Well, the experience of September to December would remind everyone of what to expect. Officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps, the police, are expected to be here fully from Monday to ensure that there's strict adherence to traffic rules and the signs. And of course, individuals are also asked to also be conscious and be more careful, especially when driving at night. I'm Gunmen reporting for Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, motorists and commuters on another end of the metropolis, the Lagos-Badagry Expressway, may have to endure more challenges owing to the slow pace of reconstruction works on the road. Channels Television visited the stretch of the over 60-kilometer highway to capture the current state of the road, which has been under reconstruction since 2009.
The plan to expand the Lagos-Badagry Expressway, a major gateway connecting Nigeria and other neighboring West African countries, was conceptualized in 2009 by the Babatunde Fashola administration to ease traffic in the region and upgrade the infrastructure from a 4-lane into a 10-lane dual carriage. 10 years since the reconstruction of the expressway began, smooth movement is only noticed on the section being handled by the Lagos State government, that is, from Eric Moore through Mile 2 to Agboju. In May 2019, students and civil society groups protested the bad condition of the road the pain it was bringing to motorists, commuters and businesses in the area. The protest paid off to some extent, as the Lagos State government prevailed on the contractors and state agencies to carry out palliative work on bad portions. This move lasted into December 2019, before the year-end festivities.
What is outstanding as we stand here on this part is just for them to finish up the lane marking and to do the street lights.
This development certainly brings a huge relief to motorists and residents.
Before now, this place is a write-off, no-go area. You can go other places and come here. It takes more than 4 hours before you got to your place.
We are seeing progress. We are seeing progress.
Although this segment of the expressway is now usable, there's more to be done outside the main carriageway. The flyovers and pedestrian bridges do not represent finished work. Somewhere, contractors are still carrying out finishing touches. Traffic may be light on the Iba corridor. The rough path still poses discomfort. Motorists require extra carefulness to use the service lane.
It's terrible. I don't know what the government is doing, but they need to find something to do to this road.
When the rain starts, there's going to be a lot of hold-up.
Estimated at about 60 kilometers long from Eric Moore, the Lagos-Badagry Road project is expected to bring numerous economic advantages to West Africa when completed. The people would continue to be at the mercy of contractors and authorities for the road to become a reality.
You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, reaching you live from Lagos. Let's shift gears now, shall we, to business news with Teniola Shobowale.
Thanks, Gimba. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's headline inflation rate is expected to jump by 0.25% to 12.10% year-on-year in December 2019, up from 11.85% recorded in November. According to a survey by economic think tank at Financial Derivatives Company, the expected increase is largely attributed to higher seasonal demand-based year effects of the border closure, minimum wage implementation, as well as a marginal depreciation of the naira. If the projection matches the official data due to be released by the National Bureau of Statistics next week, week, it will mark the fourth consecutive month of increase in inflation in the country. However, the month-on-month inflation rate is expected to drop by 0.25% to 0.97% within the month in review. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has denied some media reports regarding the arrest of the Group Managing Director of Access Bank Nigeria Limited, Herbert Wigwe, over alleged connection with the assets of Slot Nigeria Limited, owned by former Governor of Abia State, Ojiuzo Kalu. An official of the EFCC told Channels Television today that Mr. Wigwe was only invited by the anti-graft agency on the matter. Meanwhile, Access Bank, in a statement sent to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, has clarified its position over issues relating to the credit facilities made available to Slot Nigeria Limited by the defunct Diamond Bank. The statement further explains that following fruitful engagement between the EFCC and Access Bank, the issues have been resolved. A total turnover of 2.68 billion shares worth 32.64 billion naira were traded by investors at the equities market in nearly 31,000 transactions in the first full trading week of January. This comes as the NSE's all-share index and market capitalization closed the first full trading week of January with 9.07% and 16.55% surge each. In sectoral performance, 4 out of the 5 equities indices finished higher. The industrial goods sector in particular, which surged by more than 202.30%, while only the NSE Oil and Gas Index was negative, down by 0.04%. The shares of UBA, Zenith Bank and WAPIC Insurance contributed 34.84 and 33.46% to the market total volume and value of equity. Meanwhile, Dangote Cement tops 51 gainers for the week, up by 21.13%. UPDC Real Estate Investment Trust leads 19 others, while 92 equities were unchanged. Well, the central bank has injected a total of $253.38 million in the retail secondary market intervention cells and CNY 16.76 million in the spot and short-tenured forward segment of the interbank foreign market. In its first intervention for 2020, the financial market regulator says the dollar supply was targeted at request within the agricultural and raw material sector, while the Chinese yuan was for renminbi-denominated letters of credit. The CBN also explains that it is satisfied with the stability of the foreign exchange, especially during the end-of-year festivities, which was largely due to its sustained intervention, and assures that it would ensure that all the sectors of the market continue to enjoy access to the needed foreign exchange. And South Africa's central bank is expected to keep interest rates unchanged on January the 16th as it awaits a February budget and a ratings review by Moody's due in the next few months. According to latest survey by Reuters, all but 3 of the 24 economists polled over the past 3 days accept the repo rate to be kept unchanged at 6.5% next week, which would be the third meeting to leave policy unchanged since the bank cut rates by 0.25% in July last year. The poll further suggests that the Reserve Bank will cut interest rates in May by 25 basis points to 6.25% and then hold steady through next year. Meanwhile, the survey forecasts that the country's inflation will average around 4.8% this year, which is 0.2 percentage points faster than December's survey. And that's business news tonight. Thank you so much for watching. And Teniola Shobowale. Back to you, Gimba.
Brilliant, thanks indeed, Tenny. More stories now. As part of efforts to reduce the security challenges in the country to the barest minimum, the federal government is calling on all residents to partner with security agencies through the provision of useful information that will ensure a safe and secure Nigeria. Addressing participants at a ministerial retreat in Osun State, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Rauf Aregbesola says that the state of insecurity in Nigeria has reached an insurrection level, requiring an effective collaboration of all. He challenged heads of agencies under the Ministry of Interior to deliver on their mandate of fostering and ensuring the maintenance of internal security and citizenship integrity.
As you all may be aware, one of the major factors that contributed to security challenges in the country had been the issues of the nation's porous borders. This situation significantly led to the twin problem of proliferation of small arms and ammunition in the country, as well as the free entry of illegal immigrants, many of whom constitute security threats to the nation. This retreat provides the necessary platform to brainstorm and articulate other policies, programs, and strategies that will further address the problem of insecurity in the country.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Barcelona forward Luis Suarez looks set for a lengthy spell on the sidelines after a Spanish champion announced that he has to undergo surgery to treat a knee problem. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.